everybody, welcome back to Classic Games Done Quick. We have one run left for tonight, and it is F0. Zewing is the runner, and he is going to show you how it's done, so good luck.
Alright, thank you very much. I'm here with one David J. You want to say hi?
Hello.
Alright, so we're doing All Grand Prix on Master Difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty in this game. We'll get it started in just a second.
Yeah, and we'll just kind of talk through what's going on once we get started, so.
Alright, ready for the countdown?
For sure, whenever.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. So thank you. So as mentioned, this is Master Difficulty. This is a basically it's the most unfair difficulty in this game, since this game has notoriously insane rubber banding, so the AI in this game will always keep up with you. So as long as you don't crash or do little mistakes, you'll always be slightly faster than him. Take a little slow around this corner. If I go too fast, at least on the opener for this course, I'll bump into him. But
yes.
This game is, the speedrun for this is, it's kind of mimicking the way we, the F-Zero community generally approaches these games, which is a time attack, so fastest completion of each individual course. But since I'm doing this in a speedrun setting, a few things come into play. The biggest thing is the vehicles that you're kind of seeing on the road. Just about everybody that ever time attacks Mute City does it in practice mode. So we have to deal with car spawns. Sometimes they're actually so unfair you just have to tip your cap to them. And I wish I was joking. The vehicle I'm using is called Fire Stingray. It's hands down the best vehicle in every aspect for speedrunning this game. It's got the best and worst cornering ability in this game, and if you notice when I go around these corners, I'm releasing the gas slightly, so my speed goes from 478 to like 470. That little speed difference for max speed greatly increases the turning radius for this vehicle, whereas when it's at top speed, it just hardly corners, so this is bad.
Yeah, so just the tiny bit of drop speed helps a whole bunch, so it's called blast tapping. You basically just kind of really say a little bit as you go on.
Second place. Actually, this is intentional. Finishing second place actually saved some animations. So I didn't. So at the end of the lap, I'll slow down just a little bit, just to get second place. So in general, the way you approach this is you want to hit that last straight as fast as possible, then slow down and cross the finish line just as the rubber banding AI catches up to you.
Yeah, so you really see the advantage of the rubber banding to some degree there, because since they're always so close behind you, you only have to slow down for like a second or so and they're instantly caught back up. So you can also see how like the AI are pretty strong. Basically at the beginning of each course he does like CPU bumps, so he drives purposely in front of the CPUs since they're so fast they just kind of accelerate super quickly. Plus the Fire Stingray has the lowest acceleration of all the vehicles, so utilizes the CPU's high acceleration to get a quick speed boost at the start. So you'll kind of see him like driving at a weird angle, trying to like line himself up with timing and stuff like that. So
yeah, and that bad acceleration actually makes this vehicle really good on the boost length. We call it S-Jet. The length of the boost doesn't change between vehicles, but the deceleration value does. So if you use a vehicle like Golden Fox, who has insane acceleration, that acceleration comes at a cost where its max speed's low, it's boosting it oscillates so fast that you're not really benefiting from the the boost. Whereas here you can physically see the numbers lowering slowly. So I'm always at a high average top speed with this vehicle. It's like there's just no comparison between any of the vehicles. None of them are even in the ballpark when it comes to who you use. I will say that for beginner vehicles, you would probably want to use Golden Fox for the Night Dip, the King League, because the King League that's a very rough cup to deal with. And then slow down here. He's gonna pass me. I bumped to the wall because it looks cool. And
it's a pretty narrow window there. You were like maybe a couple frames that had passed. How much time do you lose if you get first place? Do you know?
I don't know who timed it. I think it's like between 1.5 to 2 seconds.
Okay, yeah. So you're unlikely to take a second and a half or 2 seconds for the CPUs to catch up because of how much they're rubber bands. So it pretty much always saves time if you can get it.
Yep. So I'll be doing the courses, like I said, in natural order. So after this, I'll do the Queen Cup, and then I'll do the King Cup, which King Cup ends with Firefield. And if you want a really good challenge, Firefield on Master is no joke. That's like even for runners of this game, we kind of go into that level having to like know that at the drop of a pin you had to be making these micro adjustments and sacrificing a few seconds instead of losing, because like the rubber, like that course has so many hairpins, which we'll get to when that happens. But as you can see, I'm just treating this kind of like a like a normal time attack. Take good lines. But normally we don't do these courses with vehicles, so time attack introduces that like little adaptability aspect. And in addition, I'm also not using the same boost points that I would normally use in a full game. A time attack. The reason is purely because of like the points that we use them in. They're also dangerous points to be boosting on master difficulty, since if you hit a wall or an AI just like this flashing red card like that, if he just shows up out of nowhere, you drop your speed to such a low value you can be overtaken. Like any mistake, and the AI will pass you up on this difficulty. So minor speed loss doesn't really let them overtake you. It's more of like you bump into a wall, they don't hesitate to capitalize. But this being a an early SNES game, you have to do 5 laps. I don't really think that was their best decision. As you can kind of see, it's
they kind of did away with the 5-lap thing across the board.
Yeah, later F-Zero entries, they made it all 3 laps.
Yeah, and then even like other racing games and stuff like that too kind of took over the 3-lap, because Super Mario Kart did 5 laps as well, which was kind of modeled off this game. This game was kind of like basically a tech demo to some degree that led to Super Mario Kart, and then they realized after that as well that 5 laps was kind of too much, so the 3 laps just kind of works out.
So this is basically the speedway, except imagine if like there's winds that were strong enough to push your vehicle. So it's a basic course, but this will be, if there's any course where I'm going to mess up on an easy course, it will be this. The AI, like I'm saying, if you've ever played this, it's very unfair. Like these exploding guys will just stay in the middle of the road, for no reason. And they'll usually just, like, you can't tell what the vehicle is doing when they're at the very edge of your horizon. So you gotta be reacting. And I guess there's another minor thing that it's probably not noticeable, but if you look on, there's like a pair of horizontal lines that show up on my screen. You guys should see it as well. Those kind of help you with like judging distances, so taking corners and whatnot.
Are you talking about the lines on the ground, or which lines?
Yeah, you should see them. It's like a permanent line system that shows up on your screen. Oh, missed that. Also, these dash plates. This is like the perfect way to show, just how strong Fire Stingray's boost is. Just get going with Fox and this vehicle side by side, and you'll see that this vehicle retained it so much. But yeah, it's nothing. Like I said, nothing special about this course. Now, unlike oh, that's not good. Oh god. But unlike the other courses where I'm going to be finishing second, you're going so fast with the boost here that it's kind of detrimental to lose time to save time, because you're going well above the speed cap. And that final bump at the end, I was actually aiming for that because you're already at the end. So here's the final course in this cup. There's 5 courses per cup. I think I mentioned this, but I think it's 7 courses show up in practice mode. So what makes practice mode separate from this is you can actually set like how many AIs you race. Well, I think it's a decision between 1 and none. But the bumps that you can get in practice mode are so strong compared to the Grand Prix mode. So we have to kind of adjust for the strategy difference, even if it's something as minor as like 40 kilometers off the start of the course. And I'm kind of like ramming into that wall there. So that's an extremely precise corner that it can be taken with a proper angle, but you have a much higher margin of error if you just slam into the wall at like pretty okay angle, because I'm going to be boosting right off it anyways.
And you've got quite a bit of health, so the health isn't really an issue either.
Yeah, health only comes into a factor when like I would say later courses, but like early on, like they're like I said, these are pretty basic courses. There's really no like urgency, and I'm not really cutting rails. I'm just smacking this guy instead, and then that's another technique I probably haven't discussed is whenever I'm boosting, S-Jet has like an interesting property. It wants to go back up to a higher speed. So when you get below like 478, because you don't have your gas held in, your speed drops. But it also that's also a property you have to know about to take like really sharp corners.
Yeah, so just to kind of explain like the S-boost thing a little bit more. So basically, as far as, or correct me if I'm misunderstanding, but basically when you use the boost, it'll put you up to speed pretty quickly, but then if you drop low enough, it'll quickly push you back up. So as you start to slow down, you'll purposely drop all the way low enough that it'll instantly shoot you back up again. That basically what's happening.
Yeah. And this is the ending screen of all these cups. The game doesn't actually save until the cutscene plays. So that's why runners of this game, do single segment.
Like single cutscene?
Yeah, single segment. So we don't reset, because otherwise you could reset this little thing. I kind of like this because it's kind of like a proof of concept. Because it shows what all you did in this cup. And then there's a cutscene that you don't want to mash towards. So you just saved it. So now we go back into Grand Prix mode with our trusty Fire Stingray, and now we're going to Queen. So this is a noticeable step up in difficulty. You can tell the background changed to yellow, so that's pretty spooky. New City 2, It's kind of like a rehash of Mute City 1, except they put like this one tiny corner difference, as well as some jump plates, which I was hoping to use there, but instead I kind of did a dirt cut. So the strats from here are going to start looking a lot more like a step up. I don't know, so I may as well explain the difference between difficulties. So really the only difference between difficulties is how, like, the AI's top speed, I guess. The difference between expert and master is actually so minor that it doesn't really matter for IL purposes or speedrun purposes. But it, it kind of sounds a little better when you say, you completed the game on master compared to expert. I believe, I think one of the people in the community in Catador said that it's like experts, the AI has a top speed of just below 178, and then on master it's just above 478, which basically just means the AI is going to keep up with you no matter what you do, no matter how fast you go. I want to hit him. And then,
so if they're going 478, you can see like zewing's basically constant top speed is 478, so they're right there behind him pretty much the whole time.
Yep. And there's many strategies that you can employ running this game. Basically whatever's comfortable with you is always the first start, but like this game has been out since 1990. There's records from this game that were set before I was even born and are still just as strong. So, this is a game where you can really see how the evolution of the game's progress.
Yeah, didn't you say like the Mute City 1 record, like only a couple people have beaten like the 1990 record or something like that?
Yeah, it's like I can count on my hand since I was born the number of people that have beaten, the 1993 record. And that's, I mean, it's insane to think that, of course would have such a dominant reign, but it's, it's unique. So I'm not going fast enough to do the shortcut on this lap. I could do it at the expense of a boost, but because this is a full game speedrun, losing frames is not the end of the world. Losing the run and seconds is the worst outcome. Oh, that guy's, yeah. So all I'm gonna do is jump over to the other side. I'm going to take advantage of the checkpoint, which is basically telling the game, I shouldn't be here. Well, it's basically saying that because I landed on that side of the track, that I should have respawned there instead of where I took off. The speed threshold for taking this is like roughly, I'd say 460. So if you hit that plate at 460, you should be able to make it. And the downside to taking that is when you land, all of your speed is gone. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. And because of that, playing it safe, just using my boost.
Yeah, so you can see right there the advantage of hanging onto his boost.
Yep, I'll do that in a few courses. Like I said, it's a valuable backup strategy. Like right here, I mean, what the heck am I supposed to do? You just gotta grit your teeth and be thankful that you did have a backup. Well, that was close. I almost overshot it.
I mean, that wasn't too bad overall, honestly. You recovered it pretty well.
Yep. Now Red Canyon 1. So these bumps I'm taking up, they're just standard 2 bumps. Half the reason I do them actually is because, when you do these courses a lot in Time Attack, you understand where at, the AI is going to be. And on this course in particular, he's at like a like the first corner, like that S turn around the dirt, like that's a really nasty corner to overcome. So at the expenditure of like, you know, half a second, I'm willing to just allow myself to be ahead of the wild goose, which is the, yeah, I'm not trying it. So there's like a really good, really crazy, it's not really a shortcut, but you take like half the corner off if you jump off the very edge of the boost plate. And
the jump plate, you mean?
Yeah, so it's like,
so basically if you land on like,
worth it at, it's just not, that's wrong.
if you land on the very back of the last jump plate, then you get just enough distance that you can make like a huge corner cut.
Yeah.
But it's super precise, so you pretty much have to like, don't you have to like turn in the air just a little bit to space yourself perfectly?
You had corner and then you had to release gas, but yeah, boost jump plates have like a thickness to it, so it's not just, you know, it's not just a pixel in length or whatever. You know, there is a backing to it that you would want to hit, and it's too crazy to do in a run, no matter how good you are, because that's, you know, it's pretty big time loss. And around that corner at the start, I know there's dirt there, but it's actually just better to go through the dirt. You know, you only lose a few kilometers. It's a better race line. I didn't do it. At the very end of that course, you're actually under the effects of boost still. Probably would have been better just to go through.
So since the boost is on, it's like harder to slow down, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is probably one of the few courses where I'm always a little uneven about. This is called White Land, and if you notice, there's like a lot of, like, you see there's snow, it's such a bright course. If you look up a lot of old videos of F-Zero, like this is probably the hardest course to like watch good quality in, and it's not the runner's fault. It's unnatural how the color scheme for this course is. I'm running this on a Super Nintendo Classic Edition, so it's like, you know, you should be able to see it perfectly fine.
It looks pretty nice here, but I imagine on an old CRT.
Oh yeah,
it isn't like the greatest.
So that was kind of taking off a large portion of that track there. So I boost where I boost because there's a lot of jump plates, and also it's just, you know, I get a better racing line by cutting through that top edge of that track. And all I'm doing is I can't just corner the whole time there, because there is a checkpoint around that corner. So basically I'm trying to like skirt around the outside of that checkpoint to make sure when I land on the track it's not going to send me back. And I don't really have a visual, but basically if you just take a straight line from, it's almost like a straight line from right across. And then a final left. And then bad positioning. Ooh. And then right up to top speed. Ooh. I don't like this layout. This is... Yeah, that was wonky at the end. Now the good thing though is that I'm in second place, so I don't really have to slow down at the end. Yeah, that's ice physics as well. Tried to take that corner as tight as I could. And finally White Land 2, which is just as hard. So, interesting fact about this course, but it used to be time attack with Golden Fox, because this course has I don't even know what they were thinking when they put it in, but basically I'm just going to say, you know, these barriers here, you know, I don't need them. I just go through and I'll take the time loss. And I do this because even though it's, you know, I'm losing speed. Oh, I tried. So I tried to land on that jump plate. That probably wasn't the best idea, but worst case, I still get bumped by the golden fox here. So I look at that as like, there's no losing situation there. You always have something going on and take the backup if I have to. So now I do the same thing, but this time I come out with boost. And I'm not doing the crazy double.
Yeah, you're going a little too fast at that point.
Yeah, you like do the double bump jump plate jump. You just like it's a timing thing. You cut off a lot of the track. It's mostly useful on the opener just because of the speed, the speed that you can gain. But yeah, very difficult course, and looking at how that middle section of this plays out, it really does make sense why Golden Fox was used for the for timing attack. I don't know the time it got. I don't remember, because I mean we have a F-Zero has a really good history documentation for this game, but I remember one of the old websites used to show somebody using Golden Fox. But Fire Stingray's king. It's like I said, it eventually comes out in the end. And then we just gotta do this one final time.
Yeah, this Mesa Corners here is really evil. Like,
and then there's Ice
so
Path.
many super sharp turns.
Yeah, they throw the whole book at you in this level, and it's not even the worst of it. So that's Queen Cup down. So now this is where the difficulty just basically skyrockets, because there's some interesting things that go on in the Night League. Red Canyon 2, for instance. I know there's something with how the red cars spawn in there that makes it like a unique course. But yeah, eventually we're gonna end with Firefield. And that's the goal for this run, beat Firefield. And everything, actually. I do have to give a shout out to Andrew G. He's one of the original people who submitted to F-Zero Central back in the day. I believe when it was called Mr. Fix-It. So, we appreciate him running this game.
F-Zero Central is like the online leaderboards where we keep all the ILs and stuff for all the games, so... most of the F-Zero runners spend most of the time doing ILs and posting them there, so the full RTA runs are a bit of an afterthought, just for the most part. They're pretty fun in their own right. Yeah,
we host all the full game runs on speedrun.com's leaderboards. For this game in particular, you don't have to run on the difficulty I'm on. I can already tell you now, there's like, you can get such a strong time without being on this difficulty. But we're so used to, running these courses on the hardest difficulty because of the bumps, that it makes it feel more natural to us. So on to King League. So this is called Mute City 3, which is basically how like super villains are like, yeah, let's just put a lot of spikes in in the fortress, and it's like, yeah, that'll stop them. So F-Zero did it with mines, I guess. Like they put like little jagged edges on that straightaway, they removed the jump plate, and they placed mines. So on the opener, usually the AI will actually hit one of them, but if they don't, well, there's still a straight line to, clear them. And I forgot to mention this technique, so I guess, they'll run down blast tapping. You're probably wondering why I'm like hitting my brakes while I'm boosting. Well, what that's doing is cycling my speed back up to the higher numbers. Absolutely not necessary to what I'm doing, but it's a technique, that's predominantly used in fast laps. because it lets you squeeze out like an extra frame of time save per S-Jet. And it's also used in like other situations where even though it doesn't save the time, it'll let you cycle your speed up to over 478. That way, like for instance right here, I'm deliberately doing it right now so I can cut through that gravity. If you don't S-Jet, if you S-Jet when you're below, the game's unboosted max speed, you actually don't jump up to your top speed with boost. So you have to be going at least full speed to do it. And this is the worst course in the game. So I'm not even going to attempt to go optimal here. It's not because I don't know what to do, it's just... Remember I talked about earlier about being unfair? Well, imagine being unfair, but you're going 900 kilometers. I already told you that the Fire Stingray's turning radius is both the best and the worst. It's also pretty hard to deaccelerate from 900. So I kind of imagine that the people who made this, kind of made this as like a troll track, and it's like, oh. But with other vehicles, these boosts aren't that bad. Like Golden Fox, like you wouldn't even think twice. You just run them over because your speed goes down so fast. But with Fire Stingray, it has such beastly speed retention. I guess because it's bad acceleration, that like it just, it enjoys being launched at these speeds.
On the bright side, at least it's fast. That's what matters, right?
Yeah, and also, I'd rather hit a railing than a vehicle in this course. I would absolutely take that little penalty. I know I've talked a lot about this run, but you have to really think of this as like not as a time attack, but like, I got to make it through the rest of the run. So like, there's a lot of decisions to make. Like, do I hit a wall? Do I hit the side? Or do I boost now? Do I boost later? Do I save a boost? It all comes down to what you're taking and what's going on. This course in particular, I would just it is as bad as it looks, and
yeah, you can tell like the difference between when he hits another machine versus when he touches the wall. Like, at least when you touch the wall, you can plan for it. It's predictable. It does the same thing every time, but you hit a different part of the machine, like another machine, you just go flying. You don't really know what to expect.
So yeah, I'm glad I got out of that. That was probably the cleanest run I've ever done there. So now we're on to Mute City, not Mute City, Port Town 2.
It's the one course I know.
Yeah, so, because of FZeroX.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Port Town 2 is basically Port Town 1, but they kind of put like a little extension. And that little extension is it's a mess. It's a corridor that with like it's a narrow corridor, but the same concept remains. The shortcut still works. Oh, that's no good. I thought I actually was going to blow up there, because that was a really, really bad launch angle.
Well, you landed it, so...
Yeah, that's all that matters. So yeah, you take the shortcut. I'm also... Oh, that's cool. So I'm also lining up these corners. When you take a corner, notice I'm kind of sometimes facing outwards. I'm going to take a little health here, be a little safe. So with my speed so low, I'm not gonna have any chance of taking a shortcut without burning a boost. And this is another one of those courses where, I'm more than willing to save a boost to ensure, something disastrous doesn't happen. Which, now I'm actually going to use the boost, since I've lost too much momentum back there. I was at risk of being overpassed.
Yeah, and you guys got to see the skip anyway, so that's what matters. Oh, and you go for it again. You got
Oh
it,
yeah,
nice.
I'm gonna go for it if I get a chance. Like that is the one
Yeah,
upside of using that safety boost. There's, you know, I at least have it in the back pocket for that. And this is a bad. Don't hit him. Yep.
nice.
You see, like I said, it's sometimes unfair where they hang up. So I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm actually slightly too slow to take that shortcut without the aidance of a boost. So you know, playing it safe, I'll take the like 1.5. I think it's a 1.5 set is how much that shortcut saves.
It's actually less than I would have expected. It seems like it's a huge jump, but
Well,
I guess because you have to respawn, yeah.
Yeah, that respawning is like the whole reason, and I waited a slight bit because I didn't want to catch him on the corner and maybe nail him in a. Yep. Give him a little little bumper.
That's pretty good. You recovered
so Red
a little
Canyon
bit of
too.
sloppiness, but
So once again, you know, building off the last, you know, Red Canyon. Difference here though is that there is a massive straightaway. That's actually just about it. Like there's, I mean, there's not much added to this. There's some mines, and this also is a unique course. Like this is like something in the code allows it to spawn. I think it's like 2 red cars next to each other. They're the exploding ones, which is something that's actually supposed to be impossible. But you know, this is like a really wide, spacious course, so it makes sense why they may have done it. And the same thing applies. You know, you take corners like this, but the boost spot here is it's very dangerous. Like this is probably the most dangerous boost spot in the entire game we do, because normally you're supposed to do it here, but this is like basically a blind corner with like that little corner there, and you know they can just spawn in and you slam into them and you're done. So instead of using it there, I'll wait till I clear it just to do it. It's not that much of a time loss, but it's like if you do this course a lot, you'll notice that like AI just loves this corner. Like there's one right there. Kind of dodged him.
I gotta say that giant arrow jump blade is really satisfying to look at. It's funny.
Yeah, it I don't even know if it saves time. It just looks cool. I think it's actually used because of it's a better line. So like right here, I'm not changing directions. You tap right a tiny bit, and you try to land on the right edge of that. So like there is like right here, that how those 2 cars spawn, that should be impossible on every course, but it works on here. So this will be the last course where I take a 2nd place finish, or a 3rd place, you know, in case of the oh no, that's not good. Kind of panicked. Yeah, they're kind of wild when they come from a jump like that. So yeah, no rush, and actually it's so now they can smack into me, and I boost. So we're at Firefield, which is I don't think there's really a good word to describe Firefield. The shape of the course, you know, it kind of looks like a dragon or something. So I think that should be symbolic of what's going on. So this is like the end of, I believe, you know, CGDQ. They did, you know, what's called like F-Zero Firefield Challenge. So Firefield on Master. You know, I'll still attempt to do that, but you know, this is, you know, it's brutal. Like I'll say that no matter how good you are at this course, you know, this is unfair at the most unfair. So every lap there is two walls I'm meant to hit. They're meant to take these corners that will otherwise be kind of impossible, and then that guy's just getting on me. And also there's this little lane here for refiller. that would be the only time I intentionally slow down in the refiller to regain energy. For the rest of the course, I need to be very alert about what's going on. So the boost point coming up is right here.
It makes sense right after you hit that
Yes.
that bump, and
And
then you just
that bump
step out of it.
actually saved my behind right there. So I don't know if I should thank the game or what. So coming off that, so even though the refiller is a much slower path, the boost that you take coming out of it more than makes up for it.
Plus, you kind of need that health anyway, right? Because you're taking so many hits.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think unless you're just absolutely perfect with everything, you wouldn't need the health, but that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then right there, I'm kind of intentionally braking while boosting, because you only gain speed when you're in a S-jet state if you have boost held in. Otherwise, you slowly start losing that trickle. Like, you'll trickle down to your regular speed. But I can't corner as sharply as I am unless I'm below my max speed. So, just for the sake of taking a corner, I'll do that. That bump right there, ideally you'll hit it and you'll come out with like 430 kilometers. It's kind of hard, but it's kind of like you'll get the, oh, that's not good. And then he's gonna hit me. Nope. Oh, it happens. So we're down to the final lap. And then, oh, that's bad. They kind of made a wall that I didn't know if like right there. Come on. That's so unfair. He helped me a little bit there. So yeah, last lap. So on the last lap, I'm not going to take that boost. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just, yeah, I got to try it. It's the only chance I have at winning.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, you gotta. I'm actually happy that I was able to beat the course, but I'm not happy that I didn't get the Firefield challenge done.
Oh, yeah, that was time. Oops.
Oh, that's okay. I got it now.
Yeah. Probably should have called that was coming up, but yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. That was F-Zero SNES. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Did you want to give any final thoughts on the run?
Yeah. Thanks for running this, 10 years ago, NGG. I probably wouldn't have gotten this chance if you didn't.
Yeah. And
thank you. Shouts to the F-Zero community for, being awesome.
Yeah, and also thanks to zewing for de-rusting this on such short notice to run it. So, shout outs to him.
Challenging, I bet.
Alright.
Yeah, he did a great job. So
what was the time by chance?
I think it was like a 41, like high 50 something.
Yeah, I stopped it a little bit late, so I had 42.04, but it was a little bit earlier than that.
I'll just say it was below estimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. So
Then the secret ending. Oh.
anyway, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you all so much for running, and thank you everybody for being here. That is going to wrap it up for today's part of the marathon. Thank you again to all of our runners today, and again to all of you for tuning into this very special Classic Games Done Quick. If you missed speedruns today, do not despair. We will be back tomorrow at noon Eastern Time with Toad 22484 running Rush and Attack to kick off day 2 of CGDQ. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other. I'm SmoothOperative signing off. We will see you again soon.